What's up, everybody? I'm comedian Michael Halcomb, and this is the Messed Up to Setups podcast. And with me today, me and John Schaefer. You're going to want to stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.
It's all messed up, yeah. Everything's messed up. We're going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Messed Up to Setups podcast. I'm comedian Michael Halcomb, and today with me, out of California, comedian John Schaefer. I got that right. You're in California, yeah?
That's right. Hey, Michael.
Hey, man. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming on the podcast to talk comedy. So let's just start right there. Where are you in California?
Out in the Bay Area, San Francisco.
All right. So you're doing some clean comedy in San Francisco. I don't think of clean comedy in San Francisco usually going together.
It can be a little stretch sometimes. It's nice to be different.
Right. Interesting. Are you a Golden State Warriors fan?
I am.
Right on. Me and my family, we've been following them for, I don't know, over a decade now. So we really like the Warriors. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
They're easy to follow with Steph.
Yeah, it's fun. Although losing Clay, that wasn't, I don't know. I feel like that was a big loss, man, and showed up this past season,
Yeah, I think it was an emotional loss for them. They're still trying to figure out who their backup splash brother is.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll see if they have a good season this coming season. But so you're out in San Francisco, you're doing comedy. How long you been at it, man?
Been doing the stand-up for a couple of years now. Been doing improv for much longer than that, like 15 years.
Okay. What got you into stand-up?
I think the challenge, I knew I was coming up on retirement, and I have since retired, and I wanted to find something that was going to get me out in front of people, keep my brain going, and give me a chance to see the world a little differently.
Right. So, I mean, you could have taken up traveling or hiking or anything. You picked stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I guess the inner soul is that I just need attention, man. That's why we're all in it, right? We love
funny.
those few minutes of laughter.
Right. Oh, that's great. So just needed some attention. But you said you've been into improv for a while.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I took an improv class last fall, and I'm curious. What are the connections you see between doing stand up and between doing improv? Do you not see any?
I think the main connection is the way you view the world. I also do a little bit of photography on the side. In all of those cases, it's a matter of looking at the world and just slowing down and observing it and saying what's really going on. And
Right.
whether that's looking at the way a flower really looks on a hike, or the way a character is interacting with another character for an improv, or just what's funny in the world around us in the case of stand-up. They're all just chances to see the world in a slightly different way.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So you've been at it just a couple years, just a little bit longer than me. I've been at it like performing wise about 16 months now,
Nice.
and I'm loving it. I was having so much fun doing it. I'm obsessed with joke writing. I love that a little bit more than the performing, but I love performing too. Got a big show tomorrow, so excited about
Nice.
that.
Good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So are you, which part of it do you like best? Do you like the performing? Do you like the joke writing, or another element of it? What really gets you going?
The performing when it works.
That's true. The making people laugh, right? There's nothing like that, right?
Yeah, I think it's, to me, the intellectual challenge of it almost, of trying to see how can I take my observations, shape them in a way that makes sense for not only me, but then the real challenge of, is it connecting with the audience?
Right. A room full of strangers, typically, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I say that a lot. Like, most of us are pretty funny around our family or friends, and we can make them laugh, right? But when you get into a room full of strangers, you have to kind of create that connection out of thin air.
Yeah,
and make it work. And it's just a whole different like skill set. So that's
it
I
is.
love that challenge as well. Yeah, man. So you got some performances coming up. I'm gonna show your website here, and
Okay.
we'll promote that a little bit.
Thank
So
you.
the URL is funnyandclean dot. Love the URL name funnyandclean.com. Um,
Yep.
so you got some shows coming up at locally there. Tommy T's, Barrel Proof, Kaleidoscope, Ameswell. Um, Pretty cool, and those look like different kinds of things too. I mean, you got like a club, a lounge, a coffee shop, and a hotel.
Yeah.
Right on. So, talk a little bit about the different kind of audiences you encounter in these venues.
Yeah, that's a great question because I'm really learning to adjust a little bit more. The smaller venues are great for that more intimate crowd work of really trying to come and interact and be a part of that small group gathering. So you see that in something like the coffee shops, and there's whatever 20 people there. Last night I played at Tommy T's as one of the guests, and there were probably I don't know 200, 300 people there.
Nice.
Legit comedy club, and there it was important to have more of my material already set up to kind of know what I was going into, but then to just ride the vibe of the room. I mean, it's so different when you've got a
Right.
hundred people laughing at something
Right.
than when you've got three guys in the corner kind of chuckling. And
Right.
knowing how to interact with those and when to go with canned stuff and when to go with just
Right.
I don't even want to call it crowd work, but interacting with the crowd. It's really a different skill set. And
Right.
then I think ultimately when you get up to the arena stage, the Bargazzi stage, I mean, you got thousands of people looking at you, and it's a very different way of working through your material. So
Right.
that's yet to come.
Yes. Yeah, this is a really good point. And two, I mean, so what? Last night was a Wednesday night, and
Yeah,
you had several hundred out. Assume a paid, like paying
it
audience.
was.
Um,
Yeah,
And I say on here a lot too. That makes a difference, man. When you
it
have a
does,
paid audience versus like them dropping in for a free mic or something like that.
for sure.
And
They're there to laugh. They're paid
right,
paid money to laugh. They're having some drinks. They're there with their friends. It was a really inspiring environment. I was like, I don't know, the third or fourth guy up, and everybody else was killing it. So that helps to
yeah,
get the crowd going.
absolutely. Well, you mentioned you have a page on your website called Improv for School or Work.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're teaching some improv stuff here.
Yeah, we are.
You got a curriculum.
We do. Um, I've worked with a woman named Kathy Zhao who is heading something called Laugh It Out Hub. And that started with the idea of bringing stand-up comedy into schools. And the thought, especially post-COVID, was kids are stressed out. They've got stuff that they're working through, and comedy is one way of trying to deal with that in a different environment. So she had the stand-up piece of it running, and I've taught improv in corporate settings and in other places. So I thought it would be great to be able to bring that same kind of attitude into schools and other places where we can reach kids who need a way to process what's going on in their world.
Dude, that's amazing. That's incredible. You guys are doing that. So my like full-time job, I'm a professor at a college, and I teach
Nice.
Comp One, Comp Two, and I teach writing at the college level through joke writing. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's cool to see something like this at the high school level, man. That's awesome. I would love to get in on this, like see what's going on, but I'm across the world.
Yeah, and I think our dreams are bigger than our abilities right now. We'd love for this to be kind of a national approach in some form. Kathy's got some connections in Los Angeles, so we've done some stuff down there, done stuff in the Bay Area. But the concept is something that applies wherever you are.
Yeah,
And there's
dude, I
also
love this. Yeah.
there's also a group called Applied Improvisation Network, or AIN, that finds a lot of ways to bring improv into people's lives, whether it's in corporate settings, in school settings, in whatever, church settings, anywhere that people get together. Those ideas about improv, the ones that are listed on the screen now, build upon the ideas of others, make other people look good. All of those kind of concepts work whether you're dealing with your wife and kids or you're dealing with a group of strangers.
It's like so the yes and make your partners look good. Mistakes can be your best friend. Know when to filter ideas and when to be spontaneous. I think that's one of the hardest, right? I was just talking to another comedian friend last night, and he was saying he went into a small club and or a small venue, and there was only 5 people in the audience, right? And
Yeah.
he was frustrated with himself afterward for 2 reasons. At one point, he had told a joke, and there was these 2 ladies, and they were just laughing and they like couldn't stop laughing at this joke. He's getting frustrated because he's on a clock and he's
Yeah.
like ready to move on to his next joke, but they're like eating his time by laughing. And I'm just like, dude, let them laugh. They're there to laugh.
Exactly.
Don't step on that laugh. Just ride that laugh as long as you can. Who cares about the material?
That is the toughest thing to do, and that was really probably the story of my first year of
Mm,
doing this, of the stand up, is that um, the way that I compare improv to stand up is that improv is you put it out there, it's probably okay, it doesn't really matter, it's fine, and you move on to the next line in the next scene. With stand up, the model that I always had was the Seinfeld model or the Gaffigan model, where you're working through that material for a year before it's showing up on
mm,
stage.
mm.
You're editing it, you're cutting it, you know exactly where you're going to be at 33 minutes into your set. And I had that kind of mindset of everything has to be delivered according to a script. And I have fun writing. I like playing with words and making the jokes. So I worked hard on trying to get the words right. And then I get up there and I'm stressing out because I don't know the exact words that I
Right.
had. I'm not delivering the material. And I'm part of something called the San Francisco Comedy College. So it's a class where we get together once a week, and teacher's a great guy, and Curtis is like, and your job is not to deliver the material. Your job is to make people laugh.
Right.
Your job is to feel the room, to let them experience what's going on. They don't know what's on the sheet. They don't care what's on the sheet.
Right.
They just want to know that you're there with them and that you've got that connection. And so it's taken me well into that first year to kind of get over the idea that I have to deliver exactly the jokes at exactly the right time,
Right.
and letting people laugh, letting silence build. I mean, most of us, we hear a laugh and it's like, oh, that's great. I've got another one. You like that? That's really cool. If you like that, you can't wait till you hear this one. Like, no, fool, just shut up. Let them enjoy that.
That's funny, dude. So what would you say? So you're a couple years into this. What would you say? Like, imagine a newbie is watching this. They're like on the cusp of going and doing a mic for the first time. They're like, what? They're wanting to get into comedy. What would be the best piece of advice you could give them?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the one that I hear on Birbiglia's podcast a lot. It's just like, just do it. Just
Right.
the only way you get better is by doing it.
Right.
Like I said, I had done a lot of improv. I had done a lot of corporate speaking. I thought I knew what I was doing when I got in front of the first group doing stand up. My brain just turned into ice and melted. It just like, oh man, I don't know my words. I don't know what I'm saying. And it's like, that's just natural.
Right.
That's just
Right.
going to be the way it works until you get up there and you fail a few times. Out of that failure, you get tougher and you learn that, all right, this worked, this didn't work. I better work on this stuff.
So this is
That's just
the part in the list. Mistakes can be your friend, at least to some degree, right?
yeah.
Like I like the way you've summarized that. Mistakes can be your friend. Like, what's an example, like a real life example that you have of that?
Yeah, in case of stand up, it's going in there and thinking that you know what you're going to deliver, and then the world happens. Like even last night, I went in there and I thought I knew what the crowd was going to be looking like and what they were going to do. And I got up there and they were a little quieter. They were doing something different, and it wasn't a mistake, but I kind of delivered the material that I thought I was going to deliver to the crowd that
Mm,
I thought was going to be there. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's not working. It's trial and error. You got to kind of poke, and it's like, okay, if that doesn't work, I better zig, I better zag, I better do something a little
right.
bit different than I was planning on doing. In the improv setting, the mistake idea is pretty natural. It's like if I come in and I am in a scene with you, we think that you're a veterinarian, and all of a sudden you say, "Oh, I've stopped working on dogs. I'm working on people now." And I was like, "Okay, this is shifting the whole scene." Sometimes the things it actually gets down to in stand up, what people laugh at is surprise. And
Right. Right.
that's the basic idea of joke writing. You set them up to go one direction, and then
Yep.
and then they go another direction. And that's what happens in a mistake. You're expecting the world to work in a certain way, and something happens. You drop the tray of ice of glasses, you fall on your feet, you do something different. It's a surprise, and that surprise, that mistake, it breaks the tension. It gets people's
Mm.
attention in a way that the standard script isn't.
A great description of that. What were you doing? What was like your former line of work?
I used to buy insurance. I was what they call a risk.
Right.
Yeah,
Interesting. All right.
I was a risk manager.
Risk. All right. And
People.
why clean comedy? I mean, I work as a clean comedian. I'm not vulgar, don't cuss, don't do anything. So I work clean. What is your motivation for working clean?
I think it's just who I am. It's the comedians that I've enjoyed and love. I mean, I'm not particularly religious. I'm kind of spiritual. I want to interact with the world. The second part of my tagline there is we want you to feel good about laughing. And I hear so many comedians who can make people laugh in ways that don't make me feel good. Whether they're making fun of race or they're making fun of, they're using language in a way that's just kind of shock value or
Right.
uncomfortable. And it's like, yeah, you can get people to laugh doing that, but when they walk home, do they feel better about the person they are because they were laughing about it or not? So for me, it's just a choice. I mean, I've got a 17-year-old daughter. I want her to hear my stuff and not run away.
Right. Not be
She's
totally
probably,
ashamed of her father.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't work, but
I totally can relate to that, dude. Yeah, I think that clean comedy there's is kind of like a movement kind of have. It's like trending, right now. It feels
yeah,
like, and yeah, I'm there with you, dude. Like the shock value comedy just doesn't do it for me. It's like the cheapest form of getting a laugh there is, right? Like in my opinion, like the being vulgar or trying to just say something absolutely heinous, to get that shock value laugh. That people aren't laughing because it's funny. They're laughing because they're
right.
uncomfortable and they don't know what else to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I love good jokes,
Right,
well written jokes, observations of the world. And I've heard a lot of not clean material
right,
that I think is amazing.
right,
It's well written.
right.
It's even viewpoints that I disagree with
Yep.
expressed in ways that I wouldn't express them. And awesome
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
you've got somebody who can take those ideas that are uncomfortable and they can express them in a way that is new and exciting and gets me to think about the world differently.
Right.
Kind of going back to the photography stuff again. And when I take a picture, the thing that I try and do is, not just hold it up to my eye and point, but look down, look up, change perspective.
Right.
I want people to see the world that I'm seeing from a slightly different way. And a good comedian, whether they're clean or not clean, can take something like sex or can take something like race relations or can take something and really get you to look at it from a way that you're not used to looking at it.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point. So, who you mentioned earlier, like Gaffigan and Seinfeld, any other comedic influences floating around in the background?
Yeah, Bargatze is, clearly a master of timing and clean and just the things that he's doing, not only on the stage, but his direction of creating Nate Land and trying to figure out how to bring other clean comedians up and all that is inspirational. I think he's doing a great job. Birbiglia is amazing to me as a storyteller, and a lot of my comedy is kind of geared towards stories. It's not one man show kind of stuff yet, but it's trying to continue a line instead of hit, punch, hit, punch, hit, punch. Saying, let's expand out on that. So those guys are amazing. A bunch of others, both going way back to today.
So, were
Excuse
you
me.
into comedy like growing up? Like, has it always been sort of like part of who you are? I remember as a kid, I was watching Saturday Night Live all the time.
Yeah,
I watched David Letterman pretty faithfully,
yeah,
while I was growing up. And so for me, it's kind of always been sitting there. And I got to, fortunately grow up in the late 80s. Well, I was born in 80s. So the 80s, but really the 90s when like Adam Sandler was taking off and still is. I mean, he's still doing incredible work.
yeah, he's funny.
There's a guy who does some vulgar stuff, but talk about
Yeah,
the creative genius. Like
yeah,
that dude's incredible. He's right up there on my Mount Rushmore of comedians, I think.
yeah, that's a good example.
But like Kevin Nealon, he's also
Yeah,
on my Rushmore, man. That dude blows my mind. And he's
yeah,
fairly clean. He's got a
is.
few edgy jokes, but almost everything he does is pretty clean.
Yeah,
And I think he is one of the best joke writers like ever. Like he is just brilliant, Kevin Nealon. So yeah, like I feel so fortunate to have gotten to grow up when like, Chris Farley and Jimmy Fallon and Adam Sandler and all those guys were sort of just like hitting that like breaking through, right? And
yeah,
they kind of like set the course, I feel like, for decades of how they would shape the comedic scene. I don't know. So I feel
yeah.
super fortunate to have gotten. So it's always been there for me. Has it kind of been that way for you, or is it like a newer thing?
Yeah, no, it's always been around in some form. One of the common icebreaker questions is who's your first concert? It's like, well,
Right.
Steve Martin. Steve Martin was my first concert. It's like not exactly what we were looking for, but yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
fine. I didn't listen to music growing up, so my albums I had Bill Cosby, rest in
Wow.
peace, sort of. I had Cheech and Chong. I
Yep.
had George Carlin. Talk about funny and not so clean,
Right.
but some of these guys going way back. So it was always kind of around. I was a middle kid, so I got my attention by making people laugh. That was fine. And then as I was looking back on this journey, I remembered that like in seventh grade, we had an English assignment to go up and to give a speech of some sort. And I did an impression of Johnny Carson doing his opening monologue. Like going way back, I had this desire to get in front of people and make people laugh in some way or another.
That's incredible. And I don't know. I feel like on the one hand, like, the comedy scene is like flooded right now. Like I don't know. I just
Yeah.
feel like everybody's trying to do it, but at the same time, like I would still say we need more comedy. We need more comedians, and part of me wonders why isn't everybody else doing it? It's like so. It's such a gift to just make like to help generate laughter in the world. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
And I think there's a distinction between comedy and comedians because
yes,
I think we all do need to take life a little bit less seriously sometimes.
right,
There's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's divisive, that's making people think and feel things that they haven't thought or felt for a long time. And that's where comedy should be able to be that different camera angle, that different perspective, to step back and to think about things a little bit differently and
right,
just laugh it off a little bit. I mean, the late shows have been amazing at that. The Daily Show, other shows, kind of trying to find a way to use laughter. You know, I think the fundamental question in comedy right now still is this idea of what's okay to say and not say, and who can deliver those
right.
messages. I did a set in Iceland when I was there on vacation recently, and before that, I talked with the people, the comedians in the open mic, and they were like, geez, in America, it's all you can't say anything. It's just cancel culture. It's like yeah, and is that different here in Iceland? No. And then he got up and he proceeded to give some racist tripe that was not very well written. But
Wow.
but it's yeah, I mean, I think people around the world need to come to grips with what's okay to laugh at. How can we still be thoughtful and serious and take action when we need to take action, but
Mm.
use improv, use comedy, use your sense of humor to do things differently.
Right, man. Such good advice. I love that you went to Iceland and got on a mic there. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
that was fun.
Amazing. Well, man, John, it has been great to sit with you for this. By the way, for those of you watching, listening, this is only part one. We're going to do a part two episode. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all the things, all the places. So you know when the next episode drops. I have comedians on here all the time, dude. So this is really fun, John. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And in part my friends, we are going to have John bring a joke that he's written, an original joke. He's going to tell it, maybe the origin story of it. We'll see if we can workshop it a little bit, and then we'll probably make some jokes up on the spot too. So that's always fun. But check out John Schaefer's website, funnyandclean.com. If you are in the Bay Area, go check out his site and the calendar and see when he's on a show and go catch him. And if you're heading to the Bay Area at some time, but look at funnyandclean.com and go catch a comedy show while you're there, and a Warriors game maybe. Although
That's right.
those are a little pricey, but
Yeah.
fun to see. By the way, dude, so I've been living in Hawaii for the last 8 years, and the Warriors
Oh, I
came
feel bad for you.
the Warriors came out to play the Clippers last fall for their training camps or whatever. And at the end of the game, dude, Steph Curry, I got a video of it. Steph Curry takes off his tennis shoes and he starts throwing them into the audience, right? And one of them landed like 4 feet from me. And these two guys, like are in like a near fist fight over this shoe, dude. Like they're shoving each other. Like it's so fun. There's like a crowd gathered around them. Like it was wild. Yeah. So maybe stop throwing your shoes, Steph.
That's my goal, is to be so popular that at the end of a set I can take off a shoe, throw it into the audience, and have a fist fight break out. You have now created a new comedic goal for
There
me.
you go. But this is so funny, dude. But check out funnyandclean.com. And after you're done with that, head over to michaelhalcomb.live, my website. I got a daily blog on comedy, all things related to comedy over there. So often giving like comedy tips and hacks and all kinds of stuff for telling funny stories, podcasts, all the stuff, michaelhalcomb.live. But hey, friends, we're going to wrap it up there. Subscribe so you'll know when episode 2 or part 2 of this interview drops. And I'm going to stop there and say I hope that helps.
It's all messed up, yeah. Everything's messed up. We're going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.